What is good, y'all? It is Anime K with another video. Now today we're going to be talking about why Boruto is boring. Now, I made a video a couple of weeks ago talking about is Boruto bad, and I broke down why I thought Boruto wasn't too bad. But after watching more episodes, and currently right now, I'm stuck. I say stuck because it's just so boring to me right now. Right, currently I'm on episode 170. I've got 4 points here on why I personally think Boruto is boring. Now other people might have different opinions, might disagree with me, but this is just my opinion. So number one, I got, and this is the most reoccurring theme and reoccurring opinion I've seen in a lot of people, is the too many filler episodes. Now you guys know what filler episodes are, right? You know, it's not the main story, it's just episodes, as the name says, filler, and there's just too many in Boruto. Now with Naruto there was filler episodes, don't get me wrong, but there was the odd maybe 3 in a row. But with Boruto it feels like it feels like most of the story is just filler episode, and it's like, and it's just so boring to watch, because having so many filler episodes and being so far away from the main story, it just shows that they don't have enough content for the main. Sorry about the notification, guys. They don't have enough content for the main story, or they just can't think of. They just don't have ideas to think of for the main story. Now, I know at this time Kishimoto was not actually on the Boruto, was not actually writing Boruto at the time because he took a break. So, you know, I'll probably put the timelines on when he came back. I don't exactly know off the top of my head right now, but I'm sure whenever he does pick up the series, it's good. But right now, whoever's writing it, they're putting way too much filler episodes in, and it's like I watch about 1 or 2 episodes of Boruto, and then I have to switch animes because it just gets so boring. It just doesn't hold my attention as much as Naruto did. But moving on to my second point, the fights. Now, why the fights? Yeah, I don't have a big problem with the fights, but it's mostly the villains, and it's mostly the people that are fighting. It's kind of like, look, in Naruto, the people that Naruto were fighting, they had an aura around them, an evil aura. You knew they were strong. You got excited about them. Now look, some people watch Boruto may get excited about the villains, but me personally, I don't know. They just doesn't hit the same. Like even when they went to the Mist Village, right? If you remember the Mist arc, when they went to the Mist Village and they had to fight the kind of retro 7 ninja swordsmen, and it's like, don't get me wrong, some of them fights were good. I did like Sarada's fight, and I did like Mizukage's fight as well when he came in, and there was some good bits in there. But overall, it wasn't really like, if from the Land of Waves arc, and you should go check out my video on why people love the Land of Waves arc, by the way, if you've not checked that out already. The Land of Waves arc, it's like when Zabuza comes in, you know, he even you don't know anything about him, but he just has that aura around him. You know, you see Kakashi getting more serious. When you seen Zabuza come down, you knew he was strong. And but these villains, they're just kind of, the villains now in Boruto, the Ototsukis, they're strong as hell. Obviously, they're just god aliens. But apart from that, it's like, who's really now? Don't get me wrong, obviously there's been strong villains, like you had Jiraiya's clone, well, and then you have Delta as well. I say she's quite a good villain as well. In Naruto, most villains that came, they were good. At first, the first villain you have Zabuza and Haku. I don't call them villains, but for the purposes of this video, I'm gonna call them villains. I don't see them as villains, but you know, Zabuza, Haku, and then you had the tuning exam when Orochimaru came and tried basically taking over Sasuke, and then you had the Sound 4 ninja. They were good to watch, and then you had the Akatsuki with Itachi, all the Akatsuki, and when Itachi and Kasami attacked the Leaf Village, they were good villains as well. But it's like in Boruto, it's like I just don't really get that much hyped about the villains. I'm not really a big fan of the Otsutsuki clan personally, myself anyway. Is it because I can't accept change? No, it's just for the fact that I don't know, maybe it's because it's different from Naruto, and the reason I don't like the Otsutsukis, but I don't know. It's just something about them. It's just being hyper super, being aliens, and they can absorb all ninjutsu, and it's just kind of, I know it's Boruto Next Generation, so it can't be all about ninja and you know, just pure ninja and fighting with kunais and just abilities. But I don't know, I kind of miss that. I kind of do miss that. But that was my second point, basically the fights, and I don't really feel that much hype for the villains. Not to say I don't feel hype about any of the villains, but it's like, really the person I enjoy see fighting the most for me is Sarada personally. I think the way she fights and the way she's able to break down the fight, she's so smart. For me personally, I just prefer her fights over like Boruto's, and he's the main character. So I don't know, is that a bad thing or a good thing? I don't know, but personally, me, the fights could be better. So moving on to my third point, I don't feel as connected to the main character. Now, what do I mean by that? Boruto, it's like with Naruto when he first came in, you know, and it's not just because Boruto's a genius and stuff, because I like that kind of, I don't mind the fact that he's a genius. A lot of people maybe have a little bit of a problem with that, but I don't mind the fact that he's a genius, because, you know, he's a bit more like, he's got a bit of Minato in him and Naruto in him as well. So he's a genius, but at the same time, he can be a bit dumb as well. I just don't feel as connected with Boruto. It's like, when I see Boruto, I don't get the same feeling as like, and I'm going back to Land of Waves arc again, when Naruto was training, fighting, everything, I was with him. I wanted him to succeed. I don't want Boruto to succeed, but I wanted Naruto to succeed. Like, Naruto just drew me into him. Like, he hooked me into him, and it was hard not to get hooked onto him, and you wanted him to succeed. Now, maybe, is it because maybe everyone likes a story of kind of someone coming from nothing to something? Maybe. But with Boruto, it's like, I don't want him to be exactly like Naruto. That's not what I want. I just want him to have that something where it's like, I'm hooked. And again, I'm going back to Sarada and even Mitsuki as well. I'm more hooked onto them, and I'll kind of prefer their characters. Not to say I don't want Boruto in the show, because obviously it's his show, he's a big part of the show, but I'm more hooked onto Sarada and Mitsuki. And look, the old Team 7, Kakashi, you know, Naruto, Sasuke and Sakura, that's not to say I didn't like Sakura, but that's not to say I didn't like Kakashi and Sasuke as well. I did, but with Naruto, I was mainly hooked onto him. You know, when I really started getting hooked onto Sasuke was probably Shippuden, probably. I still liked him in OG Naruto, but when I started getting hooked onto him was probably Shippuden. But I'm just saying, I feel like he just doesn't have that something where it really hooks you in and really makes you want to just watch. Now look, you can agree or disagree with me on that one, but I don't know, I just don't have that same connection with Boruto. And a lot of Boruto fans may disagree with me on that, but you can go in the comments and feel free to comment. I don't mind if you disagree with me. We'll debate about it. I debate all the time, you know. I debate in Discord, on the comments all the time. So look, and moving on to my final part, the arcs are just boring. Now, I'm not caught up to Boruto, so you may be like, you're not caught up to Boruto. And that's a fair point. You can say that I'm just going off based of where I've watched, and the arcs are just not as exciting. So I'm gonna just go off arcs I've already watched. I'm not gonna go into arcs I haven't watched, because, you know, I'm not gonna talk about something I don't know, I've not watched. But let's take the first arcs, right? You have the Land of Waves arc is the first arc for Naruto, and then you've got the Academy entrance arc for Boruto. Now, the first arc of Naruto, yeah, oh my god, that arc was amazing. Yeah, you had the introductions when they introduced each other. You had the Sasuke and Naruto rivalry implied straight away, and then you had when they went on the mission, the Demon Brothers, obviously the Zabuza and Haku fight, and all that was just perfect. It was a perfect introduction to Naruto. But when you see Boruto in the first introduction, it's just kind of you see Boruto acting goofy, trying to get his dad's attention, just basically fighting for attention all the time. That's basically the main thing you see there. Nothing really much. I think the only really interesting part about the start, maybe the starting arc, is when Sarada's looking for Sasuke. It's nothing really to hook you onto the episode. The only thing that Boruto has that The only thing that Boruto had, what was keeping people watching, was off Naruto's legacy. If I would have just picked, okay, I'll go personally me, because I'm not gonna speak for everyone, but if I had a person just picked up Boruto and just seen it as an anime and didn't know nothing about Naruto, I never watched Naruto, I would have stopped watching by the first couple, maybe first 10, 15 episodes. Now, that's not to say they weren't interesting at all, but it's like, a lot of Naruto fans like me are mainly watching for Naruto and Sasuke and to see the continuation of their stories, and maybe not even just Naruto and Sasuke, maybe all the old characters, just to see the continuation of their stories. That's mainly why most of us keep watching. But with Naruto, when I picked up Naruto, yeah, don't get me wrong, I started watching it because obviously the hype around Naruto and everything that was going on, yeah, don't get me wrong. But when I did watch it, it kept me hooked because of the quality and because how good the actual anime was. Now, the second arc we'll be talking about is the Chunin exam arc. I'm thinking about making a Chunin exam video about Naruto, so I'm not going to go too much into it, but what I will say is the Chunin exam of Naruto were 10 times better than the one in Boruto. And the fights were definitely better. Now, the fights I really enjoyed, obviously you got the Gaara Rock Lee fight, that's like the most popular one there. The Naruto and Neji fight, that was a decent fight as well. Sasuke and Gaara one, that was a really good one as well, because I was hyped as like, Gaara and Sasuke were definitely hyped as the best people in that arc, in the Chunin exam arc. And then even after that, when Orochimaru and the Sand Village attack the Leaf Village, I loved that, all the Naruto and Gaara fight when Naruto surpasses Sasuke in an instant. That whole thing was just amazing, and Kishimoto did that perfectly. It was amazing, and I loved that. But then when I go to Boruto, it's like, again, I love Sarada's fight. I forget who she fought. I didn't really, because look, I don't really remember most names. With Boruto, I just wasn't interested, so it's like, but the Shikadai and Boruto fight, that was also a good one before Boruto cheated. It's like, when you compare both the Chunin exam arcs, Naruto's far surpasses it. Now, am I comparing it to Naruto a lot? Yes, because that's the only show, that's the closest comparison you have to the show. And it's like, the arcs just aren't as good, because most of the time we're watching filler anyway, so we're not even watching the arcs. So when we do get to watch the arcs, it's not as interesting. Now, don't get me wrong, that's not to say they're not interesting at all. When they had to go to, now one arc that I definitely enjoyed was the Munja Bandits arc, where they had to go to the castle, and basically they had to retrieve Hashirama cells. I definitely loved that arc. It was a great arc for me. I thoroughly enjoyed the arc. That's the arc that I liked. I'm not gonna act like I hated the arc, because it was a good arc for me. But, and there is other arcs in Boruto that are enjoyable. Don't get me wrong, not all of Boruto's boring, because I wouldn't be able to sit through anime, it was all boring. But compared to the quality of Naruto, it isn't the best. Now, I'll leave it with this, and I'll say, look, because it's the time of peace, you won't get as good quality fights from Boruto as you will get with Naruto. So I will give Boruto the benefit of the doubt there, but I still think you can do better. And that's how I'm gonna end the video. Now, look, like, comment, subscribe, share the video. Look, tell me what you think. Tell me if you like Boruto or if you don't like it. Tell me if you agree with any of the points I made in this video. And look, and maybe also watch my other Boruto video as well. And look, let's just say, look, everyone's waiting for the time skip, and that's fine. But compared to the OG Naruto, look, there's debates on whether OG Naruto is better than Shippuden. But then no one's gonna have that same debate about Boruto. That's all I'm gonna say. But look, it's been Anime K, and peace. I'm out.